Hey everybody, it's Vanessa, the Crafty Gemini. Welcome to episode 15 of Fiber Fridays with Crafty Gemini. This is a new series that we started last year where the first Friday of every month usually, I come to you live and we talk about all things fiber, meaning wool, spinning, knitting, crochet, new yarn I've bought, projects we're working on, all that kind of good fibery and woolly goodness. So welcome if you're new here, and if you are a returning viewer, welcome back. I'm so glad that y'all are here. I'm going to pop into the chat real quick and make sure that everyone can see me and hear me and everything is working fine. Hi, Mary Grace, tuning in from Colorado. Hey, Audrey from Canada. Patty's in the house from Southern California. Hi, Diana. She says, hola from Chicago. Awesome. Joni's tuning in from Florida, and I'm also in Florida. I'm coming to y'all from my home crafting studio here in North Central Florida. So, all right. Okay, good. Everybody can see me and hear me. Hey, Sherry, tuning in from Iowa. Awesome. I'm so glad that y'all are here. Hey, Garnet, tuning in from Isla Mujeres, all the way in Mexico. Awesome. Okay, so for this episode, because it is December of 2022, I know that y'all are probably, if you're like me, you're kind of last minute looking for a couple of last minute gifts that you can put together, or maybe you're just winding down and all your projects are already made for gifts. That would be awesome. Then some of these ideas would be good for you to kind of wind down the rest of the year and make them maybe for yourself, okay? So what I wanted to do was start off with some gift ideas, and I have a couple of freebies and then a couple of other courses and stuff that I offer that would be good for projects because they tend to be quicker makes and they are a little bit more beginner friendly than some of them, the amazing projects. I feel like that happens to me a lot where I see something amazing and I'm like, I'm going to make the time to make this. And then I dive in and I'm like, yeah, this is a little bit more involved than I thought. So then we set it aside, right? You feel me? I'm sure a lot of us have whips like that, works in progress that we never really get to. Okay, so let's start off with knitting and crochet. Let's go ahead and switch them to my over-the-shoulder shot. Perfect. So don't mind my old little washcloths here, but I wanted to show y'all how great these patterns are. This one is knit and this one is crochet, and they're both free PDF patterns that I offer. So if you do a YouTube search for Crafty Gemini knit washcloth, this one will pop up. It comes with a free downloadable PDF so you can have the written instructions. If you are not a beginner knitter and you don't need the video, then you can just download the PDF and access it that way so you can check it out. It's super fun. I like that it's built up from a corner so that you can make it as small or as big as you want. So it's kind of like the corner to corner, where you increase, increase, increase. And then when you feel like, okay, that's a good halfway point, then you do a couple of straight rows and then you start decreasing. So you can make them big or small. So I have one for knitters. And then I also have a free PDF and video tutorial for the crochet, not the crochet version of this one, but just a crochet ribbed washcloth. And I like the ribbed ones because if you're using it as a dishcloth or a washcloth, I like it to have a little bit of texture. But these are years old and they just get popped in the washing machine. So if you're looking for something that you can make pretty quickly, you don't have to make a huge one, but you can if you want to. You can make some small ones and give them as gifts. There's a free PDF that you can download and a free step-by-step video tutorial that I also have on my YouTube channel for y'all to watch. So if you're new to crocheting, check this one out. It's a great beginner project. Same thing. This one is not so much a super beginner knitting project because there are some repeats that you kind of need to know, and you got to know how to count and read your knitting. But again, if you need a little bit of extra help, definitely watch the video tutorial because I walk through everything step by step. Okay, so those are just two freebie patterns. Obviously, they're not blocked. This I just yanked it and stretched it out. But these are made of 100% cotton thread, and actually yarn. This one actually is a blend. I believe it is cotton and acrylic. And it's from, we used to sell kits when we first launched these projects, but I don't remember now. I want to say, throw out a name of a popular cotton yarn that's cotton and acrylic. Somebody's going to mention it in the chat, I'm sure, because it was super popular. Some of you probably bought the kit and you know what it is. So that is from that. And then this other one, I pulled this ball of cotton yarn because I think that this is it. This for a while is like my favorite cotton yarn to use, especially for washcloths and dishcloths. And this is Dishy from Knit Picks. This is the worsted weight. So it's CYC classified as 4, the thickness of the yarn, right? And it's 100% cotton, this one. Now, I don't know about you, but sometimes when I work with cotton, oh, just like saying the word cotton and yarn together, there's like this squeakiness to it. It's hard on my hands. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just me. Is it just me? I don't know, but I know that when I found Dishy, I was like, okay, now we're talking. This is a cotton yarn that I could work with. So either this one is what I use when I make washcloths and dishcloths, or a cotton acrylic blend. Like it needs to have something else in there. My hands are just, ooh, whew. I cringe just thinking about any other 100% cotton that's not this one. So let me know what your favorite 100% cotton yarn to work with is. I mean, I'm not opposed to trying some new ones out. I just know that like some of the ones that you can get at the big box stores are not for me. It's too hard on my hands. Okay. Oh, Mary Grace says, I have the yarn, but I can't remember the name. Okay. And Vamp Book LVR says, I'm knitting in between making your casserole carriers right now. Oh my gosh, that is such a great project to make. It's a quilted casserole carrier. For those of you that sew and quilt, I have a free YouTube tutorial. I posted that tutorial, I think, like 11 or 12 years ago, and it's still a hit around the holidays. Everybody loves to make it and give it as a like a host or hostess gift. So the Dishy I ordered from KnitPicks, and it's just a website called knitpicks.com. And I will, after the show tonight, I can put in, I have an affiliate link, I think, for KnitPicks, and I can put that in the chat below. But you can get it from KnitPicks. And one of the things that I liked about Dishy too, I didn't mention it here. Let me look at the info. This is a 100-gram ball. Okay, you don't have to wind it onto a cake or nothing. You can start knitting from it right here, and it's 100 grams. You know, usually you find the 100% cotton ones for little dishcloths and little, you know, trivet type patterns and stuff. You usually can find them in 50-gram balls. So I love that this is I mean, you can make, this is not, basically what I'm saying is this is not for one dishcloth. You can make a bunch, okay? You can make more than one. Yes, Nancy says, I prefer Dishy to sugar and cream. That's the one that I started with. I think this is no, this is the one that's the blend. This is not the sugar and cream. That sugar and cream. Oh, I see Janet says the squeak is real. Thank you. Oh, yes, there it is. Margie says it's Premier Home. That's what this is. So this one is a cotton and acrylic blend. Thank you, Margie. Margie knows all the things. When I can't remember my own tutorials, Margie to the rescue. Thank you, Margie. We appreciate you. So this is from Premier Home. So it's like, I want to say it's like 55, 45, 55 cotton, 45 acrylic. And it works up really nice. And you can see this has held up. I mean, I want to say I made this 3 years ago, 4. And they just get thrown in the wash and they get washed up and they keep going. And I would say, because this is this one, the color holds up pretty good, wouldn't you say? It's not really that faded. And this was a bright kind of rainbowy color, and it's still pretty bright. So I'm surprised, especially for cotton. But I think the rainbow one is because of that or the acrylic in it. You know, the synthetics hold their color better than the natural fibers. Okay. Oh, good. Monique says, I love Dishy too. Great. Yeah, so if y'all are looking for a cotton yarn for dishcloths or like little home projects that you want to just throw in the wash and things, I recommend Dishy. I definitely love it. So I'm glad to see that some of y'all out here also like that yarn. Okay, so that was a free knit pattern and a free crochet one. All you got to do is in youtube.com, whenever y'all are looking for any of my tutorials, just type in the words Crafty Gemini and then whatever it is you're looking for. So Crafty Gemini, knit washcloth, Crafty Gemini, crochet washcloth, and they'll pop right up. It'll be the first video that pops up for you. Now, some of the ones that are classes, and they include patterns, but they're a little bit more in depth. Like I couldn't teach this in just one video tutorial, so we turned them into classes that we've done crochet alongs and knit alongs with, and we've sold them last year and this year. The knit version, or the knit project, I would say that would be a great gift, especially now for the colder months here, is my Loma knit hat. This is a great beginner project, Loma worsted hat. We're using a worsted yarn here. You can see how it looks so different just based on the yarn that you're using. This is a Noro, of course. If you're a Noro yarn lover, I know you recognize this. I made my husband one of these. He has a lot of hair that's usually styled up on his head, so I just made it longer. So the pattern really lends itself nicely to adjusting it for different sizes. Well, the pattern includes different sizes for kids, kind of like a child, adult size, and they go from there. So you can see that this is the child size, okay? But of course, the middle area of the hat, you can just keep doing it and doing it to make it taller or longer. If you want a bigger hat, slouchier, or you're making it for someone who's really gonna fold the brim up and you want this portion to be even taller, you would just work that middle section even longer before you started getting to the decreased rounds. So this is a video course and PDF pattern that we offer together on our website. So this is the Loma worsted hat, and this is the one that I made. I need to wash it and block it again. I made the hat with yarn that I spun and plied myself. So I'm always super proud of this little hat that I made from that. You know, with my own yarn, I made the yarn and I made the hat. It's like my one little proud spinning and knitting moment. Then the crochet project is my crochet market tote. And we did a crochet along this year for this where we had, again, these are paid for projects. So the Loma worsted hat and the crochet market tote. I have Patty, I think, is on her bag number 29. This is one of my students who signed up for the crochet along, and she's made, I want to say she just recently posted. She's like, this is number 28 and 29, and I think these will be the last ones. She's been doing nothing but making these bags, it seems like, to give as gifts. She started earlier this year, and she's cranking out all her Christmas gifts. So it's just a big tote, totally washable, eco-friendly. If you're going to the farmer's market, you know, you have this mesh area here, which is great for carrying vegetables. You're not going to have anything sweating in here, right? So that's another one that you could definitely still make in time for the end of the month if you needed it for holiday gifts. And it uses a worsted weight yarn. We used, I'm looking at the ball right now, in a bin over there, and I cannot think of the name. It is a big old hank of Karen Cotton Cakes by Yarnspirations. This one. And this is the big boy. The big one's 250 grams. So you can see this. No, this is not the same colorway because this doesn't have the purple in it. But similar. You can see that it's like a self-striping yarn. And so it changes color. And it's 60% cotton, 40% acrylic. So if you have a Michaels, I think that's where we got these. Michaels has it in stock. So Caron, C-A-R-O-N, the brand. And then this is the Cotton Cakes. I think they only sell it at Michaels now because I tried to find some and then they told me that they only make them for Michaels now and whatever. But if you have a Michaels, look for it. This would be a great project. It doesn't have to be that one, but I just know that it works well because both of these are that. Okay. So those are other knit and crochet projects that would be great to give as gifts. And then I wanted to mention, I have an arm knitting tutorial that's like a decade old or something on my YouTube channel. But if you don't have knitting needles and you're not really a knitter, that is a super, super fun, it's like an infinity scarf. I don't have one here, they're in my closet. But you make it where your arms are the needles and you use super bulky yarn and it whips up in less than 30 minutes. Just make sure that you don't have to go to the bathroom, you don't have to answer the phone, you don't have to answer the door because since you're using your arms as the knitting needles, you have everything cast on here. And so you're like working the stitches like that, okay? But it's super fun. So again, to find that one, just go to youtube.com and type in Crafty Gemini, arm knitting, and it'll be the first video that pops up. I think it has like, I don't know, 1 million views or something. It's a really popular one. Okay, great. So then, oh, real quick, another free tutorial that I wanted to mention. If you sew and you're looking for a gift for someone who like knits or crochets or does hand projects, a project bag is the best thing that you can make for someone. Pick some cute fabric, maybe that has a design or a motif that they like. This one has really cute little cats with little birthday hats on them, different types of caps and hats. I think it's super cute. And it's just a project bag that you can store your projects in. You can never have too many project bags. I have a shawl in here with some yarn. And then of course, when I'm looking for all my tape measures and little thread snips and stuff, I have like one in each bag. So you know that we need multiples of these things. This, again, is a free tutorial that you can find on my YouTube channel. Just type in Crafty Gemini project bag, surprise, and it will pop right up. I show you how to make this. It's finished on the inside, and then we make this strap, and it has a full drawstring so it can close up, and it's completely washable too, okay? So just throwing out some ideas there for those of you that maybe have missed those projects or are looking for quick things that you can make. Next up, let's talk a little bit about some favorite tools that if you want to buy tools for the holidays to give to a friend, to gift someone, these are things that you can gift them. One, of course, I'm always going to plug my premium crochet hook set. We have this in our online shop and we sell it. Super fun colors. I'm missing one because I used it. I pulled it out of here. But it includes 11 sizes from 2 millimeters all the way up to 8 millimeters. They're super cute. They're all ergonomic. They're super comfortable in your hands. And usually when we sell like the washcloth kit, I don't think we have any more of the crochet washcloth kits, but we'll sell it with like the yarn and the crochet hook set. So if you're trying to get somebody new, a beginner, a kid, a teenager, or somebody who's just wanting to learn how to crochet, this is a great beginner kit because a lot of the projects that you're going to be making out there that are beginner friendly are going to use especially this mid-range of sizes. So if they wanted to work on something a little bit bulkier, you still have a bigger hook here. And then I don't know about any beginner who's going to start off with these baby ones, but if they need them, they're there. Okay, so the crochet hook set. Then for knitting needles, I'm always going to recommend Chiagu. These are my favorites. I have the interchangeable sets because I need all the sizes, right? And I'll show you the red here is for the red lace ones, I think, but my metal ones come in the red strip. The ones that are green here include like the bamboo tips. So it has the tips. These are interchangeables because they come with cords and you can connect it depending on the length of the cord that you need for your project. So instead of having fixed needles or straight needles in each size, you can make your own based on the size of the needle tip you need for the project and the length of the cord. So I love these, and I think we might even have a couple sets left in our online shop. So remember, you can always shop with us if it's something that we sell in our online shop at craftygemini.com. There's a little tab for shop. You can click on it, and there's an entire menu dedicated just to anything related to crochet and knitting. So my classes that have to do with crochet alongs, knit alongs, and any of the projects, yarns, and things that we feature every once in a while, that's where they're going to be posted, okay? So interchangeable sets, Chiagu, are my favorite. I like the metals because I tend to be fast, the same way I talk fast, I move fast. But if you are getting these for somebody who's a beginner, you may want to consider the wooden ones. The wood has a little bit more grip, right, because it's not as slick as metal, and so the stitches won't just be flying off. But look how cute those are. Same idea. You would still screw them into the different lengths of the cords, just the tips are wooden. I kind of, when I first started, and I haven't been knitting that long, when I first started, I started off with the wood ones, and I break them. I'm a little bit rough on things, so I would like snap the tips off my interchangeable sets. And if they're like a thin bamboo needle like this one, these are single pointed. This is just a 9-inch one that is a fixed straight needle. Like it's just like that. There's no cord. You're not doing nothing else with it. In this size, I would snap this in two in 15 minutes. Like, so I personally need the metal ones. Okay, so those are the needles, crochet hooks. Those are some other ideas. Oh, I pulled this out because I realized I never had featured this before in Fiber Friday. So this little thing, look how cute, fits in my hand, is called the Knit Kit. And I'm pretty sure you can find it on the knitkit.com. I don't even know. But if you just type in the Knit Kit in Google, this will pop up. So this is a little thing, and I'll read you what the back says here. Oh, it is the knitkit.com. You see, I knew it. I know I had seen it before. 10 essential tools in one compact kit. So let me get a little bit of a close-up here, just so y'all can see a little bit more. And it's dark here, so let me lighten that up a little. Okay, so it says on the back, crochet hook, cable needle, collapsible scissors, tape measure, thread cutter, a row counter, stitch markers, point protectors, darning needle, and needle gauges. All are included in this little thing. So let me show you. Up here, there are like 3 little clear bubbles with numbers in them so that you can use to count your rows, your stitches, or whatever. So on the back of this one, for example, it says 1's direction, 10's direction this way, and 100's. So if you're working on a shawl that has like 350 rows, you could keep up to 3-digit number counts on here. So you would do a row like that, and I can see the numbers changing in there. I think you can see that too. And so you can use it as a counter there. Then if we go here to the side, if I pull on this, I have a little tape measure. And then it's a retractable one, so to bring it in, I press this little white button here, and it goes back in. Then if I turn it on the side here, there's a little crochet hook plastic thing. So it's called the Knit Kit. I'm sure that they designed it specifically for knitters. And if you crochet, you might be wondering, why would a knitter need crochet hooks? Well, when you drop stitches, you need a little crochet hook. Well, I use a crochet hook at least to pick a drop stitch up. And so I love that this is not just one kind of small or medium-sized hook on it. It has a teensy one here. So if you're knitting with really fine yarn and you drop a stitch, you would just use this little teensy end to help pick up the drop stitch. And if you're working with a little bit thicker yarn, you can use this one. Isn't that super handy? And they just go in right here on the sides. So this would be, I think, a great little kit thing, like just to gift somebody. It's like, here, I don't know what all you do, but here's all the stuff you need, right? Like if you don't know anything about their knitting craft, this would be an awesome one to give as a gift. EJ says, I need that for my collection of knitting tools, okay? So now that was on this side. Now we turn it this way. This is the cable needle. So if you're working on a project with cables and you need to hold your stitches on a little cable needle, it has this on the other side. So there's no hook on this side. It's just like a little bit thicker on one end that you can use to hold bigger stitches, and then narrower end on here. Then right here, you can't see it, but there's a teensy little blade there. And let me see if I can grab, I'm just going to use some thread. But you would use some yarn if you don't have scissors, even though this little thing comes with scissors. So you could just use the little blade that's there to cut your threads, cut your thread tails. If you're needing a little piece of waste yarn, just something quick that you can do right there. So that's a little blade. And we talked about this is the counter. So that's the front. And I believe they sell these with like a bunch of different pictures in the background. I picked this one because it kind of had like a tropical background on it. There's like palm trees and stuff. And I picked the color. They come in different colors, cute little designs and everything. So now we flip it to the back. This is wild. There's a whole compartment back here. And when you open it, the little collapsible scissors, if you pull like this and then you go like that, there are your sharp little scissors. And I get these questions sometimes because I'll post pictures when I'm traveling on a plane and people are like, how did they let you take those scissors? And I'm like, the blades are shorter than 4 inches, so TSA lets me pass them. So this is even better. I mean, the blades are hidden. They're tucked away in there. Scissor who? I love it. Okay, so those go in there. And then obviously I don't have the point protectors here. I've had this thing, I want to say, for like 2 years. But I just throw in other stitch markers. It came with some stitch markers. I don't know if these were the ones that came with it or not. I don't even remember. But then it had like little rubber points that you can put on the ends of your needles to protect them. Let me see. Crochet hook, cable needle, collapsible scissors, tape measure, a thread cutter, row counter, stitch markers, the point protectors, the darning needle. Oh, it had a darning needle in here too. You know, that's in like one of my project bags. I have like 73 of them. And then a needle gauge. I was like, huh, where's the needle gauge? Duh, on the back right here. So if you're working with straight needles, especially, I think that's where I've seen it, and you don't know the size, you can insert the needle here, and where it stops, like where it fits, is the one that tells you it's, you can barely see it, but the measurements are here, both in metric and in the US one. So let's see. Nope, nope. I think it's that one. Yeah. It's this one. So this needle is 8 millimeter, a US size 11. And if I look on the needle, it is. This is size 8 millimeter. So if you needed to double check the size of your needles, it has it right there on the little flap of the back side compartment. So isn't that super cool? So again, that's called the Knit Kit, and you can find it at theknitkit.com. So I thought I would share that with y'all. Oh, DK says, I remember that from years ago and never got one. Nice to see that it still exists. Yes, it definitely exists. Oh, and Nancy says they also have a crochet version. Oh, I might have to grab that one. Let me write that down real quick. Thank you, Nancy, for sharing that. Maybe it's called the crochet kit. Okay. Yes, Snow White says that would be good when on an airplane for sure. Oh, great. And Nancy has 2 of them. She says the original and the version 2. She loves them. Good, good, good. Yeah, I thought that was super cute. It's pretty compact. I mean, it can't be that small since it does pack a punch, right? There's a bunch of stuff in there. But I really liked it. That was fun. Okay. Then, and let me keep an eye on the time. Okay, we talked about the needles, a crochet hook set. Okay, another thing, another gift idea is a magazine subscriptions. I know there's a lot of magazines. Like I used to be one that subscribed to, how many quilting magazines do you think I used to subscribe to? A lot. Like everyone that existed, I had them. And then little by little, they all went out and I stopped and whatever. But there's not that many these days. And I think it was my friend Vicky from Vicky's Wool and More that recommended Ply Magazine to me. This one just came in. If you're waiting for yours, sorry, this is going to be a spoiler. This is issue 38, the autumn 2022 edition. This magazine, it's wild because it's, if you're a spinner, right, and you knit and stuff, this is like those magazines, it's like my seed catalogs where I just lay in the bed and just like look at seeds and read on the history about the seeds in the garden and why, how did they come up with this variety, and you just circle them and then you order the seeds when it comes planting time or whatever. But this is like both. It's the background info, the understanding, the science behind the fiber and all this stuff, and projects. So wild. I audibly hollered, literally gasped, when I saw my friend Mars had a pattern in here. Hi, Mars. She is Hey Brown Berry. You can find her on Instagram. And she has these Alana mittens in here. How cute are these? So this is her pattern. And I literally screamed. I was like, oh my gosh, it's Mars. Okay. And then there's all kinds of stuff here, tidbits, info, data on like the loft, the ply. This is what I need to sit down and look through because we're going to get to it in a bit. But I want to fix some old stuff, that old yarn that I plied, and then get some more tips so that I can practice a little bit more. I have the spinning down, I think, but I need to get better at plying, especially since all my bobbins are full of singles, and I need to ply some stuff to make more space. Here's one little section of the magazine that I saw that says top 10 for the loft, and out of the 40 most popular breeds or whatever, these 10 rose to the top, it says, for the loft. So I have a lot of fiber. And so this is fun for me to see because it tells you like the crimps per inch, what's the crimp structure like of that wool, and the micron count and all that, so that I know like what I have compared to what I have in my stash, and then I can kind of plot a little bit what I want to card together in the drum carder, or what I want to mix up either in Rolags or whatever to end up spinning together. So I thought that was super cute. So there's a ton of data in here like that, like information, articles, and there was one in here that was like specifically about the fleece. It's like a shearer's kind of story thing in here, right here, the shearer's science. Look at these fleeces. Now, if y'all don't know, we have a sheep breed here that we have sheep on our homestead. It's a Florida Cracker breed sheep, and we actually just bought 4 more. And so it's coming up on shearing time. Our traveling shears come in January. So I'm looking forward to having a lot more fiber. And my friend Vicky, if you're watching, I hope you're ready to process more wool for me because I will be sending those fleeces your way. But this article is about the labor behind the loft, a shearer's science. So I definitely need to sit down and really go through this. Look at this fleece. It's an enormous Dorset fleece. And I'm just like obsessed with the crimp and stuff, you know, because we have sheep, and once you get into it and see what the fleece is and how to process it and all that kind of stuff, it just is like a whole nother hobby and interest, you know. So a magazine subscription would be fun. Also, a book would make a great gift. These are 2 of the ones that I really like that I find that I go to again and again. This one I wanted to bring up because some people, you know, you might knit or crochet or spin or whatever, but you always hear about natural dyeing, natural dyed yarn, natural dyed wool or whatever. But this is a great book that breaks it down and makes you feel like you can actually do it and try it. And it's called Wild Color, The Complete Guide to Making and Using Natural Dyes. And I mean, there's so much information in here. Of course, it has info on animal and vegetable fibers. So it's actually cool to have this book also. I initially bought it for dyeing fabric, for natural dyeing fabric. And then I was like, wait a minute, I have this book when I got into dyeing yarn and stuff. So this would be a cool one for somebody who might be interested in doing that for both, you know, fabric and yarn. And then Yarn-A-Texture, I pulled this one out again now that I want to get more into plying my singles that I spin. It's called A Knitter's Guide to Spinning, Building Exactly the Yarn You Want, and it's by Jillian Moreno. She's great. I've taken classes with her online through Vogue Knitting Live and stuff, and just a ton of information from the beginning, spinning the yarn that you want, all the way to finishing it up and having it look and have the same feel of what you wanted it to be, right after blocking and after finishing it and wetting it and all that stuff. Okay, so books, magazines would be a good idea. And then let's move on to my works in progress because I only have 2. I haven't been that busy, but let me grab one. And I'm going to put it on because I want y'all to see that I do have plans to finish this thing. I'm off camera right now. Let me make sure this is the back. If you've been following me for ages, you're going to laugh to yourself when I show you that the very little progress that I have made on this thing. Oh, my goodness. Okay. Still have my stitch markers. I did finish the sleeve. It was a tubular bind off that it called for, and I'd never done it before. I just did it recently. It's not perfect, but you know, it just, we gonna finish it off and pretend. So this is my almost done sweater. This is called the Weekender. It's out of focus, yeah. It's called the Weekender Sweater by Andrea Mowry. It's super popular. Probably millions of people have made this thing. I started it in 2018. Don't laugh. And I'm going to finish it. Maybe not in 2022, but soon. So it has a boat neck collar here. I know some people don't like it. When I first saw it, I was like, oh, it kind of looks weird. Look at me yanking it the wrong way. When people wear it. But then I saw some people when they style it with like cute pops of color of the shirt that they're wearing underneath. And then I was like, okay, yeah, I think I could rock that. So it's almost done. One sleeve. I need to take off all these stitch markers, write down my count so that I know exactly how many rounds of decreases I need to do, because I changed the pattern up a little bit. It has like a really slim arm for the rest of the size that I was making, so I had to adjust for my biceps because they were bigger, so I had to pick up more stitches. I made it work, you know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I'm excited. It's super toasty. It's all wool, and I love the yarn. It's gray with a ton of little speckles of little fun pops of all these colors. Thank you, Clovis. She says it looks good. One of these days, I will finish off that sleeve, y'all. And then I will be wearing my weekender sweater. But yes, I mean, I'm happy with it. Look how cute. Oh, look at me showing it here. And I'll zoom out just so y'all can see some of the details. I need to put a tag on it for sure when I finish. So this shorter hem is the front. It has a little split hem. Look at me. I did weave in my ends on the bottom, y'all. And then the back hem is a little bit longer, split hem and a little longer in the back. Super cute. It's knit in reverse stockinette, so all this is purl. It has this little faux seam going down the middle with one knit stitch. Super cute. Look at that. I'm looking at it like, wow, I did do this. Can I tell you too much about it? Not really. I know I did something wild here, some short rows, something, and oh. It's funny because I bet you when I finish, I'm going to be like, oh, that wasn't that bad. It only took me 4.5 years. I'm going to make another one. We'll see. But anyway, these are all my little stitch markers counting the decrease rounds. And then I finished off the little cuff at the end of the sleeve. And I just need to repeat that here. And we'll duplicate it on the other side. And then we shall be done with the weekender sweater. So hopefully, I mean, I did finish that sleeve recently. And I was like, just a little progress is something. A little bit. Yes. Audrey says, love the sweater. Get it done, girl. I need to. I know. It's like I look at it and I'm like, I need to sit down and just say, okay, 1.5 hours, do nothing but pick up stitches, double, triple check the count. And then once I pick them up and I'm good, then it's just knit, 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 and then, you know, start decreasing. And that's not a big deal. So it's not a lot of thinking. But that beginning part, I don't know. Does that happen to you? Where it's just like, and then when I do it, I'm going to be like, why did I wait so long? I do this all the time. It's like a job that takes 7 minutes, and I'm like, oh, it's going to take me forever, and then I don't do it. And then I do it, and I'm like, it actually only took me 4 minutes. Why didn't I do it before? All right, so that was one. And then the other one is one that I know a lot of you are waiting for because I keep getting messages from y'all. Because you're looking forward to learning how to make socks. And I had told you that I'm testing one of my little patterns out to do worsted weight weight yarn is what we're going to use for the socks. That way you can still learn the techniques and how to make a sock. We're just going to use thicker yarn because it whips up quicker. So there's one sock with an afterthought heel. These are like cozy home slippers because they're such a thick yarn. And then this one, there is no heel, my friends, not yet. I did Kitchener the toes this weekend, last week. We went out of town, and I took a few minutes, actually. I thought it was going to take me longer. I don't know why I do this because I'd done it already on the other one, and I knew it didn't take long. But I did finish up Kitchenering the toe, and then I realized, hey, guess what? I looked at my notes, and I'm like, did I count how many rows down before I insert the heel? How did I do that? Of course, I went back for the photographic proof on my phone, and I had actually put in waste yarn on this one. So don't be like me. I'll make sure that I teach y'all how to do it right and follow the actual directions where we put in the waste yarn. So then when I'm done like this and I go in to put in the heel, I know exactly where I need to put it. Now I'll have to like go in and count and make sure that I can still do it pretty evenly. I mean, these are just a prototype anyways, but I'm looking forward to teaching this. We're going to do this as a knit along in the new year when it's good and cold, January, February-ish. I need to make another pair and work out all the little kinks and stuff, and then we'll be able to move on with this one. Yes! Janet says yes on the sock making. Okay. Oh, Kat says, I love your cup. Yes, thank you. This is a mug that I bought from a knitter who is also a potter. There are cables on this. I don't want to spill it, but there's cables that are embossed in here, like knit cables. And it's one of my favorite mugs. There's a couple of chips in it, but it's huge. I think it's like a 24-ounce mug, and I bought it at one of the local shows. And I love it. Okay. Yes, EJ says, love, love, love sock knitting. So this will be a fun one to do. So I just wanted to let y'all know I have made some progress, and I'm working on putting together that knit along because that'll be a super fun one for sure. All right, so those are my 2 whips. And then let me grab new yarn that I bought. I don't know anything about it. Maybe y'all do. Let me show you. It's a sock yarn. I think one of my distributors sent out an email and they plugged it, and I saw the socks and I was like, huh, I'm curious. How different is this from other sock yarn, you know? So the brand is called Laine du Nord. It's French, but it's made in Italy. But the brand is a French name. I want to say Laine, like Lana, wool of the north, northern wool, maybe. So that's what it sounds like to me in French. But it's made in Italy, and it's paint sock is the yarn, and it says 2 identical socks. So this, look at these pretty colors. It has some type of self-striping pattern here that you'll get 2 identical socks from. And if I zoom this in, I want y'all to see the little sample sock that they have on the tag here. How cute is that? So I got it because I saw that in the email and thought, I gotta have it. This would be fun to knit on my, or to crank out the tubes for the socks, or just make the full socks on my circular sock knitting machine. And when I got it in hand, when I tell you this is soft, I might even carry this in our shop. This is like plush yarn. It's sock weight yarn, okay? Again, it's striped in a way that you're gonna end up with 2 identical socks. And the length, or whatever the amount in here, this is 3.5 ounces, and that says it's about 458 yards. Gorgeous colors. Has anybody tried this yarn before? Laine du Nord? I haven't. Oh, EJ says I have that yarn. I need to start the socks. Well, girl, let's get to it. Let's make socks. How fun. So, I mean, can you tell how squishy this is? And one thing I liked is if you're going to knit the socks by hand, this is already in a ball that you can start from. So you don't have to wind this, right? Sometimes when we get indie dyed yarns, they're in a hank and we need to put them on a big Swift, and then we need to wind them into a cake. So when you really, that inspiration strikes and you're just like, I'm gonna start right now and cast on a project, you can do that with this type of a put up, okay? For me, if I wanna crank it on my sock machine, I need to wind this up into a cone first and then use it. So that's why it's still in these pretty little balls, because I haven't done that yet. Vamp Book LVR says, okay, now you're making me want to try socks. Socks are super fun. I don't have any socks here. Not, I mean, these worsted weight ones, but I'll have to make some more. And I want to see how this cranks out on the sock machine, because if you're supposed to get 2 identical socks, I'm down to crank that out on my machine. I just thought this colorway was super cute. The color is number 80, and the lot is 1635 on these ones that I have here, at least. And it's 75% mulesing-free wool and 25% nylon. So 75% wool and 25% nylon. But it's squishy, y'all. It's, oh, plush. Okay, so I just wanted to mention that because that's new yarn that I got that I'm looking forward to using and turning into socks. Yes, Mary Grace says it's beautiful yarn and it looks super squishy. I'm glad you can see it, because it is. All right, now the last couple things are, one, I think these are the Rolags that we did last month. Do you remember last month we did, I did a little demo on like how I put the wool on my blending board and then we make the little Rolags? Well, this is all I have left from those Rolags. I spun it all up. It looks like cotton candy. Super cute. Don't ask me what I'm going to do with it. I have no idea. Again, I have a lot of singles. I need to ply this yarn up and actually make something from it. But I ain't there yet. Because, and let me pull this back out, I finally, I realized this, like, why am I just spinning, spinning, spinning and not plying anymore? Because last year I was plying more stuff. Well, I think I'm a little bit traumatized from this one because I didn't ply it good. So I need to reply this to put more twist in it. Like some areas have a lot of twist. I think this was my first one. Like the first yarn that I made and plied. And some of these areas you can see that it doesn't have any twist in it. It's like super loose. So yeah, I guess I could still use it, but I mean, I could apply it to something else, to another thick yarn. Or I could just run this through the wheel again and reply it. So I'm going to work on that this month for sure, because I'm taking a little bit of a break from work stuff. And so these are some of the things that are on my list of that I want to do. And plying is one of them. So I need to get to this, plying this. And I have an entire bin full of bobbins full of single plies that I need to ply. I have to do it. So yeah, I'm gonna get to that. So that's where I am with my spinning. And then today, I think it was today, I got this box in the mail. I haven't opened it yet, from my friend Vicky. Another one of my friends gave me a bunch of wool that she said she's not going to be spinning anymore. And so I didn't even know what the wool was. She didn't even remember what the wool was. And she said, do you want it? Are you going to use it? I said, sure. I'll send. It was like raw fleeces. And I'm like, I'm going to send it to Vicky and have her process it, and then I can use it for my spinning. Yes, I just used my rotary cutter for that. Don't mind me. So let me see what kind of, she just gave me like a bunch of boxes of wool, and I just gave it all to Vicky and was like, process it into whatever, roving or whatever it needs to be in so that I can spin it. Ooh. Oh, I don't remember what this was. I'm gonna have to go back in the notes. I think this one did, because it was one of the few ones that was like a dark wool. I think we did have the name of what the breed of this sheep was. Ooh, but this is soft and fluffy. And the staple length is kind of long. It's not that short. It's not like our Florida cracker wool, which is like really, even at 3 inches long, it was like super short and neppy. Here I have a chunk of some. The white bits that you see here, the natural colored bits, are from our sheep. So you see how neppy those little bubbles that you see, there's like little tweety bits. These are called neps. And so that's why I blended it with some merino wool to give it, a little bit of a smoother texture in some parts, but to still kind of highlight our homegrown wool. So this is a little bat that I have left over from what I made and was spinning up. But you can see this is way smoother. I don't know what this is. Is Vicky on? I don't even remember. I'll have to check with her and see, but it feels plush. Look at that. Ooh, that's going to be a dream to spin. And look how much I have. It's an entire bag. Okay, that's pretty ridiculous. Like I told Vicky, she was like, hey, do you want an advent calendar? I was like, the wool is taking over my craft room. I cannot buy one more thing of fluff. She's like, yeah, that's usually what it does. Is this Cormo? I can't remember. It was like some fancy type of wool that everybody's like, oh yeah, you want that. But just by touching it, I definitely want to spin it for sure. All right, so you can put them back on my face. And I believe that's all the stuff. I like laid out everything here that I had on the table to talk about. But hopefully that helped y'all get some ideas for some little gift ideas that you want to do. Remember, I have free tutorials on my YouTube channel, knitting ones, crochet ones, even the arm knitting scarf. That would be fun. And if you're ever looking for a project or you want to see if I have a tutorial on it, just type in YouTube Crafty Gemini and then followed by whatever the keywords are for what you're looking for. And if I have a video on it, it will pop up for you. Okay? Great. So thank you everybody for tuning in this week. That was super fun. And now, because I have shown you all my works in progress, I have to get working on them. So hopefully you will find time this weekend or in the coming weeks to work on some projects, either just for yourself or for gift ideas. Let us know if you do. We also have a yarn and fiber group on Facebook with Crafty Gemini. So if you want to join that group and you are making some of these projects, or you want to touch on something that I mentioned in a Fiber Friday episode and you want to send us a link, or like I asked, what resources do y'all have for plying maybe that you would recommend to me, since I want to focus on plying a little bit more than just spinning the singles, you can chime in that Facebook group. It's a private group that we have for all things having to do with yarn and fiber that has to do with Crafty Gemini stuff, okay? So definitely join that group if you're not already in it. All you got to do is, if you are on Facebook, do a quick search, type in yarn and fiber with Crafty Gemini, and it should pop right up for you, okay? So thanks again. I'm glad that y'all like that dark yarn. Then I'm gonna have to spin it up and do something with it so I can come back on here in a new episode and share something with y'all. But thanks again for tuning in. I hope y'all enjoy your weekend coming up and that you find time to make something. Thanks again for watching. I'll see y'all in the next one. Bye.